The following message is brought to you by your friends at Journey Life Church. Want to connect? Find us on Facebook or join us Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. at Hatton Community Learning Center here in Akron.
So it's officially December now. Don't know where the year went, and it's just flying by. Kids growing up too fast. Everything just changes, so it's just so fast. Like everybody always tells you, oh, wait till you get older, it's going to go by even faster. I'm still operating in January. I don't know about you guys. I'm not talking about next January. I'm talking about like January 2016. So time's flying by a little bit too fast, but here we are in December again. It's the time where we start thinking about like all the deals we can get around Christmas time, all the Black Friday shopping. Who here went Black Friday shopping? Anyone? This half of the room. Got a weird ghost guitar behind me. It's crazy. So we go out, we look at the deals, and we start focusing on the bows, the perfect wrapping paper, the tinsel, the tree, the mistletoe. Huh? No one? Okay. Okay. The eggnog. Huh? Don't judge me. You know, in the Bible, in 3 Timothy chapter 1, it actually says, "Holy is he who enjoys eggnog." Now, don't try to find it. Just trust me, it's there. And if you don't get the joke there's no 3 Timothy. I'm 3 Timothy. Moving on. So you wonder, did I get that gift receipt? Are they going to like the gift that I got for them? Am I going to like the gift they got me? Do I have to fake that I like the gift they got me? And since the season of Advent is upon us, it's the season where we start to like hope for things and we expect things. We expect that our Christmas cookies are going to turn out right. We hope that there's going to be enough. We hope that our visit with our families are going to be as little drama as possible. And we hope that No Shave November will hurry up and end so our husbands or wives, no judgment, will finally shave. My wife is very happy right now because I shaved. So I guess at this point in time, it's more of a thankful thing than an expectation and a hopeful thing because we've shaved, it's December, we've moved on till next year. So the word Advent, that's the name of this season. We talk about it a lot in the Christian community, but I don't know about you guys, but I hear the word Advent, I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And so I looked it up. And Google, as helpful as it is, if you look up a word, right there it breaks down to the original meaning of the word and to like the farthest back that they can look for. So it makes it real easy to find out what the original Latin is for things. So the original Latin for the word Advent means to come or arrival. So it's funny that we call this season Advent because this time of year we tend to start looking back. We start searching ourselves, which I've been doing a lot of that myself. And we start thinking about things that we can change and things we can do better for next year for our New Year's resolutions. Let's face it, we'll probably make it to 3 weeks in, right around where it tends to end. But I've been looking a lot at my personal past, and I think a lot of you here know a bit about my testimony, but not everyone. Before I was saved, I drank like a fish, I smoked like a chimney, I was constantly high. I treated people badly, I didn't believe in God. And honestly, the only reason I stepped into a church was because I was trying to make a girl like me. Put it that way. So in order to sit by her, I had to sit 3rd row from the front in the absolute center, which, by the way, she was on the choir, which she didn't tell me ahead of time, so I was sitting there first time in church in like 15 years. I was like, oh, what's happening? Also, never stepped foot in an Assembly of God church before, so it was a lot more Pentecostal than I was raised in. And this sanctuary was large enough to hold 1,500 congregants. And I was 3rd row back. Very intimidating, but it made it so I couldn't run. So as I listened to the pastor deliver his message, On that very day, December 23rd, 2012, I gave myself to Christ. And from that moment on, God put me on the fast track. By the 1st of January, I was sober from all my addictions. I changed the way I talked to people, how I interacted with people. I lost most of my friends. But in 2 Corinthians 5:17, it says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old is gone, the new is here." And I always point out on that, there's an exclamation point right there at the end there. It's an exciting thing. The new is here. It's exciting. We're happy that we're a new creation because the old us, let's face it, probably wasn't the best person. I know I was not. So anyways, I lost most of my friends. I made new, real friends, people who cared about me, people who were there for me. And we're happy that I changed my life for the better. And so one day I was at work and I waited tables. And a woman who I'd never waited on before in my life, she pulls me aside. She goes, "Listen." Those are always the best tables. When they start off their sentences to you with, "Hey, listen." I was like, "Okay, what was wrong with your food?" She's like, No. You're wasting your time going to college for interior design. You need to drop out of college right now and join seminary because you're going to be a pastor." And I was like, "First off, lady, I don't know who you are. I am 6 years into my 4-year degree here. I'm going to finish this up." But look who's not an interior designer right now. I also haven't gone to seminary, but that's a different story. So when I told her that she was mistaken, she's like, no. I'm never wrong about these things. I'm like, "How many people have you told to drop out of college and go to seminary?" She's single-handedly pushing people into the role of pastor. But I went home and I prayed about it. And I was like, "God, is there any truth behind this?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He started showing me visions of like what my ministry is going to hold throughout my lifetime. Things that blow my mind. I still to this day can't believe the things that he's shown me, things that I'm going to be able to do, things that people are going to be able to reach, things that are going to come from the ministry that I'm going to be a part of. He's given me something to hope for, something to expect. But here I am in December again. And I look back and I think about the past constantly, and if I'm honest, I have cravings constantly. I even sometimes wonder if I really am a different person than I was back then. And you see, God has made a lot of promises. But the thing about God is he keeps every single one of them. Before Jesus even set foot on this earth, 353 prophecies were made. Now, prophecies are promises that are made by God, things that are going to come into fruition, things that are going to happen. God was like, these things are going to happen. These 353 things are going to be done. And all of those things, every last one of those prophecies, every last one of those promises, they were fulfilled by Jesus. And if you're interested in looking more into that, because I'm not going to go into that many things. I'm not going to have a 353-point sermon this morning. If you want to look more into that, when I post this video on Tuesday, I'll have a link to a site that I found that kind of outlines it, and you can read where it was promised, where it was fulfilled, and how it was fulfilled, and go into the description and look into it, because I think it's interesting, but again, I'm not going to have a 353-point sermon. So when I have these moments of weakness, these moments where I feel like I can give into these cravings at any time. I just want those drinks. I'll stop at the gas station. I just want to buy a pack of cigarettes. I just want to give in. My coworkers, every last one of them smokes. And one day my boss was like, "Hey Tim, you want to come out and smoke with me?" I looked at him and I said, "Every day." But I'd turn around and I'd walk back to work. So when I want to give in to those cravings, I have to keep in mind those 353 promises that God kept for the coming of Jesus. I have to keep in mind that all of his promises will be kept. And because of all those promises having to be kept, I have to focus on the fact that he has promises set in in my life. In John 8:36, it says, so if the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. You're free from all this stuff. I'm free from my temptations, but that doesn't make them go away. Satan's way of trying to get you to miss out on the things that God has in your life is to go after the things that you struggle with the most. I was never a person who, when I smoked, I was one of those people that would have a nicotine fit and be like, no, I need to have a cigarette right now. It's been 2 minutes. I wasn't one of those people. I could go days without. I just enjoyed it. I smoked a lot. When I say I smoked like a chimney, like everything you can think of, I smoked. And Satan's way of getting me to like lose focus on God is to be like, hey, remember when? I started, I usually unfollow certain people on Facebook who are kind of like, are negative all the time because you can only take so much of that. But I refollowed somebody that was a childhood friend of mine. And it's somebody who I party with a lot. And he's the same as we were back then. I'm not. And so he's posting a lot of stuff that, to be honest, I haven't even seen anybody posting that stuff in a long time because, like I said, all the people I follow are like pastors or superhero things, so I'm a nerd. So he's posting all this stuff, and I'm looking at it, and it got me to think about my old life. And I started wondering, what if I start talking to him again? I mean, what's the harm in talking to him again? But then I was like, what's the harm in hanging out with him again? What harm can come? I'm strong enough. I'll be fine. And I had a dream one night. God likes to come to me in dreams. And in that dream, I threw everything away. And it felt so real. The dream ended with Nina looking at me saying, I am taking our son, and you will never see either of us again. And here's the funny thing. This is how God likes to work. I wake up to Nina rolling over and putting her arm around me and saying good morning to me. So it's kind of like God saying, hey, stay focused. The old you is gone. The new has come. Do you want to throw away everything that you have, or do you want to move forward with what you have and what's to come and all the exciting things I have for your life? God pushes me in ways that I can't explain to keep my hope and my mindset on his promises he has for me. In Deuteronomy 31:8, it says, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. So even in your time of weakness, he's there. In your time of hopelessness. This morning, as we're trying to get our mindsets ready for worship, as I'm trying to get my mindset ready to deliver this message, Nina's getting text messages from her mom, who was nice enough to watch Ren overnight last night because it's our 3-year anniversary. He's not doing good. So as I'm trying to grab onto the hope that I've lost sight of recently, as I'm trying to grab on and focus on what God has me here to do, Satan is there attacking my son to get to me. Because that's how he works. Actually, immediately after we're done here, we're rushing him off to urgent care. It's that bad. It's not just, we'll set up an appointment for him on Monday. We got to go take him to urgent care. But even in my moments of absolute hopelessness, he's there. He's in this place right now for each and every one of us. And in these moments where you can just break down and cry, and words can't describe how you're feeling, he's there. In Joshua 1:9, it says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Guys, he's there. He's here. He's always here for you no matter what you are going through. In Psalm 34:17, it says, the righteous cry out and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. Notice it says, cry out. When you're in your moments where you're at your absolute worst and all you can do is just be like, God, what is happening? You're literally crying, tears are running down your face, and things just don't make sense. God hears you. In Luke 11:9-13, it says, so I say to you, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks the door will be opened. Which of you fathers, if your son asks for a fish, you will give him a snake instead? Or if he asks for an egg, who will give him a scorpion? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him? In Mark 11:24, it says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you will have it, that you will have received it, and it will be yours. Now, God's promising that whatever you ask for in prayer will be given to you. If you're praying constantly for a free Lamborghini, that's not quite how it works. If we jump over to Philippians 4:19, it says, and my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. And that says, according to the riches of his glory, he will meet all your needs, which means that he's going to give you what you need. It will always be what you need. It may not always be what you expect or what you want, but it will be what you need in that situation. So this time of year, yes, it's important to look back and to reflect and see where you came from so you can see where you need to go, because you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. It's okay to look and see what's been happening in your life, what you've done in the past year, to see what we're going to do differently in the next year. But it's also important to look forward to see what is to come. What does the future hold for us? What steps do you need to take to get to your destination? What areas do we need to give to God to let him do work in us? The second part of the meaning of the word Advent in the original Latin was arrival. When we're celebrating the Advent season, we are actually celebrating the second coming of Christ. And this is something that we don't typically talk about, because if any of you have read the book of Revelation, it is a scary thing what it paints is going to happen. We don't like talking about it because it's scary. But in those moments when we're starting to think about, are we quite saved enough? Are we good enough to make the cut? We start to fear that this is going to all happen. Christ is going to come back before we've had the chance to do things that we want to do in our lives. Maybe we won't get the chance to get married and have a kid. Maybe we won't get the chance to travel or get the dream house. The reason we are afraid of these things is because our minds can only work in the finite space. Our minds are like, how much time is this going to take? For generations, we've been trying to figure out the exact timeline of when Christ is coming back, and when everybody's like, oh, it's close. Every generation is like, it's close, it's coming now. Even though the crazy people on the side was, the end is near, with the cardboard signs. Because everybody thinks that they have it figured out. And it scares us because while we have to operate in the finite, God is operating in the infinite. After we leave this existence, we are going to spend an eternity with Christ. And that's something we can't process. We can't comprehend that, and it makes us feel uneasy. I'm a planner. I like to know things are going to happen. Like, I can go with the flow some, but that's for like, okay, this day I'm going to kind of do this, and then this day I'm going to do this. An infinite amount of time doesn't make sense, and eternity doesn't make sense to our brains because we can't comprehend that. We can comprehend 80 years. We can comprehend a lifetime, but we can't comprehend infinite time. But the truth of the matter is that we should be joyfully celebrating that future. Because God keeps his promises, and he promised that Jesus is going to come back for us. And we will get to spend that eternity with him. And that's a promise that we should celebrate more than anything this world has to offer, because that's a promise that's better than anything that we could ever expect on this side of eternity. So we need to take the energy that we spend fearing the unknown and put it into anticipating and celebrating what God has in store for our futures, both in this life and the next. And while things can look scary from time to time, right before coming up here, I was terrified to come up here because I'm like, what if Nina gets a call and we have to rush out of here in the middle of this? I love my son more than anything in this world. But it's taking the energy to stress about what that doctor is going to say when we get out of here, because let's face it, the urgent care is not going to be open until we're out of here anyways. It's taking the energy to stress about that when I could take that same energy and say the words that God has given me this morning, because I'm reaching somebody. Somebody this morning needs to know that it's going to be okay. Somebody this morning needs to know that the struggle, however real it may be, is not going to get the best of you. In this season of Advent, we need to celebrate the first birth of Christ, when he first came to us. But we also need to celebrate the second coming, no matter how scary that is. And in the meantime, we need to celebrate what he does for us. We're supposed to celebrate everything. God doesn't call us to wallow and cry and be upset and say, oh, woe is me. God doesn't call us to sit around and stress out about things. He doesn't say things are going to be easy for us. I mean, all of his disciples had a real rough time. Stuff that we're never going to have to deal with happened to them. He doesn't call us not to be stressed, but he does make us a promise that he will be right there. If you reach out, he's right there. If you ask for it, he's right there. He will give you what you need. In a world where there's so many reasons to be hopeless, war, financial troubles, health issues, lots of health issues, lots of financial issues. Let's be honest. I mean, there's so many reasons why I felt hopeless lately. I struggled to write this because I'm like, how can I preach about hope when I am the most broken that I have been in a long time? Just the other night, as I was trying to finish this up, I had a breakdown. A lot of things came up that I had been keeping secret because I was trying to keep my hopelessness to myself. God gave me Nina to be able to confide in her, and I just kept to myself, like, no, this is mine. Same thing we do to God. No, this is mine. So I had a breakdown. I feel hopeless. Cravings, the financial problems, the health issues with both my son and my wife. The two things that make me the most happy in this world. So many health issues have been going on. It seems like whenever Ren has one thing done, another thing happens. And the things with Nina, I mean, it's same thing again that happened before that scared me to death. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but when Ren was born, I thought I was going to lose my wife at the same time. And some of those same issues are coming up. And it's scary. It's hard to have hope. But our hope doesn't rest in the worldly things. It rests on the shoulders of Jesus Christ. The shoulders who bore the weight of sin. All of our sin, past, present, future. Jesus died for that, so we don't have to worry, we don't have to stress. Let him take hold of those things this Advent season. Let him take over the worry, the stress, those sleepless nights. Pray and cry out to him. You bow your heads this morning.
Are you enjoying Journey Life Church's videos? Consider donating today via the Givelify app on the Google Play and Apple App Store.